Alright folks, welcome back to this React Native tutorial for beginners. In this next lesson we're going to create an Android virtual device so we can run our applications that we're going to create in our desktop instead of having to run them on a physical Android device. Okay, so open up a terminal. What we're going to want to do is enter Android AVD. Now we get an error here that's telling us there's no command for Android. Reason being, the terminal doesn't know how to find Android, doesn't know its path. So first thing we need to do is add Android to our path. It's simple to do. Let me minimize this terminal, open up a file browser, and make sure you go to your home directory. In this home directory, I want you to enter in your keyboard Control H. That's going to show all your hidden files. And we're going to look for a file called bashrc. Let's see where that is. There it is. So open that up. Alright. And we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And at the bottom, we're going to paste the following. And I'll have this linked in the notes. Simply exporting where the Android SDK is located and then exporting that to the Android command. Okay, so go ahead and make sure you save that. And once it's saved, you can exit. Let's go back to the terminal. And once again, enter Android AVD. Oops. I think I have to exit. There it is. Yeah, you have to exit the terminal and restart it for it to work. Alright, there we have it. So now Android is in the path. Anytime we type the Android command in the terminal, it knows where to find that. Alright. So we're going over here to the top tab, select device definitions, and scroll down to one of the phones. We'll use the Nexus 5. That's a simple one. Select create AVD, Android virtual device. The target, we're going to select Android 6.0. Okay. Under CPU, it should auto-populate to Intel Atom. If you remember, we installed that system image when we went into the SDK manager. Select the skin, and you can just select no skin. Front camera, we'll select webcam. Back camera, we'll select webcam as well. Internal storage, you can leave 200. If you want to add an SD card, feel free, and just hit OK. Now we may get an error. Okay, so we did. Got an error here. The result of creating this AVD, it's telling us this directory does not exist. So it's trying to create this this AVD in this directory, but it doesn't exist. So let's go find that. Let's open up a file browser, and it's in Android. So this is going to be a hidden file, so we're going to have to once again Control H to show our hidden files. We're going to find the .Android. Okay, so if you can see, this is locked right now. Reason being, if we select right click and hit properties, under permissions, oops, looks like I'm frozen up. Okay, under permissions, the owner is currently root, and we can't have that, otherwise we're unable to, the system's unable to make any modifications in that folder, in that directory. So a simple way to change that, once again, right click anywhere in an open area and select open in terminal. Enter the following command: sudo nautilus and a period for the current directory, and enter. And we have the that same directory, but this time with super user privileges. We'll have to hit Control H again to show the hidden files, and now we have the .android directory that we need to modify. So right click on that, hit Properties, scroll over to Permissions, and change the owner to yourself, whatever your name is or your system name is, and change the group as well. Okay, once that's done, you can X out of that and close that file browser. You can close this terminal as well. Alright, so now we're going to have to exit the AVD completely. And as you can see in this other file browser that doesn't have super user privileges, we're able to actually go in that folder or in that directory. So you can close that out. Alright, so once again, enter Android AVD, tab over to Device Definitions, scroll down to Nexus 5 or any one you prefer, and create a AVD. And the target should be Android 6. The CPU should be Intel Atom x86. For skin, just select no skin. Front camera, select webcam. Or if you have separate cameras, feel free to select that as well. And hit OK. Alright, it'll take about 5 to 10 seconds, maybe a little more, depending on the speed of your system to create that. It'll act like it's frozen, but just give it some time. Okay, there it is. Result of creating AVD for Nexus 5 by Google. Okay, select OK, and there we have our Android virtual device under our personal ones. We can tab back over to device definitions if we want to create some more, but for all intents and purposes, we just need the one. So you can actually go ahead and make sure that's highlighted and select Start. Scale display to real size if you want, and launch, and just give that a moment to fire up. There it is. You can feel free to minimize that and the terminal as well. Now make sure you don't close this terminal, because the terminal is running this Android virtual device. If we close that, the AVD will close as well. So this will be gone. So just minimize it for now. It is starting your Android device here virtually, so give it some time. It does take a bit, and there we are. And just like any Android device, you can swipe over, select settings, the hardware, the soft buttons work as well, the menu button works as well. Now there is a third-party emulator, I believe it's called Genymotion, that from what I understand runs a little faster than the Android AVD built-in emulator. There's a bit more involved in getting that set up. I'm sure you can figure it out if you really want to, but for this lesson we're just gonna stick with the Android emulator, the built-in one. Alright, so there we have it. We have our AVD set up. In the next lesson, we'll create our first React Native application and have it run on our emulator. Alright, so we'll see you next time. Feel free to comment, share, like, all that good YouTube stuff. We'll see you next time.